All right, let's get right into this. Again, I don't put any time into planning what I'm gonna say. I don't write a single thing down. The idea that I had, and I had literally just one word in my head, and it was systemic. And if you know me and you know the videos, you know that I always talk about how I lived a life that was outside of your typical systemic world. Now, doesn't mean that I wasn't following rules. I may have been following rules in the way that whatever I was taught and whatever I was given, that I was working with it and doing with it the way that I was supposed to be doing it, doing the right thing. And again, that really collapsed on me. Was it a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I mean, that was the life I lived, and today that's not the life I live. I've talked about, for people who are new to this channel, I've talked about many times how the end of last year, I mean, like the new year, I should say, the new year for me brought in a totally different life. The new year for me brought in a life that was where I finally had a presence. In society, in the world, I had a presence. I was able to change and grow. I was always told how I would never change or grow. He's exactly the same. He talks the same way, thinks the same way, does the same things, right? Maybe it was the motivation of this New Year resolution or something, or that I was gonna, a commitment I made to follow up on my New Year's resolution, but I wanted to just, that's something I never had. I didn't have a presence. When I would sit in a classroom, or when I would sit in a lounge, or when I would go anywhere, I was totally invisible. Okay, I had no presence. When people would be speaking, I would usually be quiet, and people would speak to each other, and they would pretty much ignore me. I got ignored everywhere I went, and I wasn't upset about it because that was my life. And it was funny because the good thing, the odd thing about it was that I thought that I was very good looking, and it was funny that somebody who's so good looking and who actually has somewhat of skills and talents and all that is basically just being ignored. I found it to be really funny, and I think that kind of made me more special to some people. I maybe just a few people out there, but some people thought I was very special for the fact that, for being so good looking and for having such a good personality and character, and integrity and everything. The fact that I never changed, I never grew, and I had zero presence, that I was always ignored, but I was fine with being ignored at the same time, and I was fine with the cards that I was dealt, and I was playing the way I was supposed to play, not really complaining or anything like that. This year was a different story because I finally had a presence, but it wasn't right away. Like, I made that commitment. It wasn't like I was right out there with, oh, I got a presence, I'm changing. It wasn't like that. It was like, I made that commitment, and slowly I started getting out in the world, to the point that I actually joined a soccer program, where I got to play soccer at a public park where everybody was watching, and I showed everybody how good I was. And there was a lot of things that went into that time. There were things that I was studying. I had been studying coding since the previous year. I was really getting into coding and numbers and everything. I was feeling things out. Have I ever had an advantage in the past? Definitely, well, other than just having a little bit of clever stuff going on, I would say when I robbed the bank, which I did, it was crazy because when I robbed the bank, all of a sudden people who talked about me or thought about me were willing to go public with it. You know what I mean? No, he is like us. No, he is like us. No, he's better than a gangster. No, he's better than a gangster. He is like us. This is what we've been saying all along. We noticed this guy we noticed this guy so many years before anyone noticed him, and we've been talking about, we've been living like him, we've been influenced by him. We thought he was really cool or something. And it was after I robbed that bank that people were able to say that, right? Even after robbing the bank, I came into contact with people where I had real life experiences. I mean, not even one or two, like 1,000 real life experiences, just step after step, because I was like a machine. I just wasn't quitting, and it was like challenge number 1 done, challenge number 2 done, challenge number 3 done. No matter how small or big, I just kept. I had like 1,000 life experiences, from confrontations to game to playing to conversating to negotiate anything. Being somewhere, doing something, doing real shit. Even if it meant, even not getting in trouble for shit and getting in trouble for shit and all that. So, that was a bit of an advantage, and it was also limited because I wasn't told everything. Like, I wasn't really told it. I was pretty much blindly doing stuff. And then it wasn't until I got locked up here where I met someone who actually literally word for word told me stuff like, this is what it is, showing me things. This is what you are. This is what you can do. This is your capabilities. This is how your body works. I know you've been taught this since you were a child, but this is not true. This is the way things really are for you. This is what things really are. So that really helped me a lot. And that was when was that? That was 2 years ago. So that was well before this. And so I finally made the commitment, and it was right away. Like anywhere I go, I have a presence now. I have a presence. I speak. I'm felt and everything. And that was like enclosed. Like it was like I was inside of a cave basically, because I guess I hadn't been active long enough or had a presence long enough to really be in the world. So it was like I was in a cave for a while, and then I literally broke out of that cave, came into the world, and that's just recently. Like I felt that really, there were big things that happened. I mean, shit popped off. There was a lot of stuff going on, and things got hectic. They got fiery, real shit. And when that happened, it was like I finally came into the world. And now I am understanding the whole systemic thing, Now I understand why people feel the way they feel, they do things the way they do things, because I realize now I'm not alone. I always felt like I was alone, and that might have been true actually. I may have been alone, but at this point I don't feel like I'm alone. I feel like I am a type of person that exists out there in the world, that that my race matters, my identification matters, who I really am matters. Whatever happens in the world, if races go to war, I'm involved. If races have politics, I'm involved. If business is going on, I'm involved. If there's things happening in my life or someone or another guy who's just like me in his life, I'm involved. I'm affected. I'm in there. You know what I mean? So there was another thing. Oh, and another thing, and I'll tell you, and being just a little over maybe over a month or so, being in this state, in the systemic state, I will tell you this, is that I finally done something that I think is really good for me, and I finally sort of risen from the bottom. And people always mistaken me. They always thought that I fell to rock bottom, or that I had a really good life and then I fell and all that. And that may have appeared that way, but that's not what it was. I started from the bottom. I know Drake said that he didn't actually start from the bottom. I mean, I know what it's like to be hungry 3 or 4 nights a week, as a small child. I know what it's like to not be able to eat more than a bowl of cereal a day. And not for like 6 months, for like a good 10 years, until I actually got a job and I could afford to buy my own food. That's what life was like to me. I actually went hungry on like on the regular. That was a normal thing for me. So I know what it's like, and I've always been on the bottom. And this is the first time that I've actually lifted up off the bottom, and I think it's incredible. This is the first time I felt myself come off the bottom, and I've heard sarcastic jokes put towards me. That I'm only this much higher off the bottom, and I don't think that's true, because I think I've heard of. I think more accurately, I'm a significant portion off the bottom. You see this? What's the bottom of the camera right now? It's right here. This is the bottom of the camera. Hold on. This is the bottom of the camera. This is the top, right? You see that? And I'm like here now. Now that might hold on. There you go. Now that might not seem like a lot, but it's a big deal to me. You know what I mean? It's a big deal to me to be that much off the bottom. That's quite significant. Right? So again, I feel good about it. I feel good being in a system. I feel like I've even shed stuff out of me, like lost the bad in me, any kind of bad in me, any kind of previous people that I didn't, we don't have to even get into it, but I feel like I've just kind of, gotten rid of a lot of the negative in me and a lot of the bullshit in me. I've gotten rid of it. And without cheating, without lying, without pretending, without making anything up, to genuinely rise up, to genuinely get rid of negativity, to genuinely become better, is a great feeling, because you feel it's like constructing a building with your hands, or building your own house, or or a church with your own bare hands. You know, the feeling is just so valuable. And it's just so incredible. So that's my life now. I do see more saying I am calm when I'm calm. I am angry when I'm angry. I do react and act, but it's on a level that's systemic, and it's, there's no secret mystery or anything like that. What's going on? It's just systemic, and people are starting to realize and recognize me, understand that who I really am out there, what level of a guy I am out there, who I really am. You know, for people to understand, yeah, I lived a hard life, and I think that's a misconception, because people think like, oh, dude, I've never been in a hard spot. I've never gone hungry. I've never lost. Oh man, since I was born, I was a stud. I was born into a family of studs. I was a total stud. I was raised as a stud. I was a champion. I was a millionaire from the start, and I don't know what it's like to even fall. You know, people will say that, and I go, you know, on this planet, we have a real physics law. It's called gravity, okay? And it's a lot of weight that goes down. So if you haven't fallen and you get that fall, good luck trying to get back up. You know what I mean? Because I've been on the fall. I've lived my life on the fall. You know what I mean? And that makes me a lot more stronger, a lot more durable than others. And I've seen it happen in my life. You know, a guy is on his sixth, you don't even need to get into that. But there are guys who just filthy rich and have all the advantages in the world, and then, you know, they face somebody, they fall, and they're like, holy shit, right? But anyways, and I feel like I earned my place. I really feel like I earned. It's like you being on a lower level and beating the best guy on that lower level prior to even making a commitment to have a presence or changing. Like, you know, you doing major big things, changing things in the world. You know what I mean? So again, whether it's my own life, whether it's the bigger picture, whether it's a smaller picture, whether it's a system, I am in the system. I'm talking like I'm in the system. I'm thinking like I'm in the system, and I'm showing my caliber, my value, and my worth. So we got 12 minutes in there, and I don't need to say any more. I feel like this was a very useful video. I'm sure even the video is at a great level, because people see the way I'm talking, and it's really. I mean, I see myself, right? And I know it was a very good video. It was, you know, I mean, I'm sure if I was getting graded by anyone, I'm not, you know, it'd be like, wow, that was really good. So anyways, forget grading, but you know, listen, I do get likes every now and then. So give me a like, subscribe, support the channel, and I can continue to support it. We're gonna end this right here.